Hey everyone! On this channel, what I normally do is talk about technology and gaming. Now, when I started this channel, I focused on travelling. I was travelling at the time, I was travelling South America at the time, and I focused a little bit on website development, but I've focused more on technology and gaming over the last few years. It is a passion of mine, it's something I'm interested in. But in this video, what I'd like to do is do something a little bit different, and I'd like to talk about asthma. Now, asthma is a condition that I'm living with, and it's maybe a little bit of a boring video for a lot of you, but I thought I would, put out my thoughts on this subject and talk about this. Excuse me. I think asthma is still something that I think the general public doesn't understand too much, but at the same time, I think everyone knows someone with asthma. But I think that people don't have a full understanding of what it's really like to live with the condition and how serious it can be. Now, I'm not saying I'm an athlete, but I'm someone who's generally looked after themselves throughout their life, and I've exercised. I played sports at school. I played basketball with my friends. I started going to the gym when I was 15. Started doing martial arts at 20, and I still train. Right now about 5-6 days a week, every week. I do look after myself, and I try to stay fit. One of the reasons I stay fit is because I've got asthma, and one of the reasons I turn to running, because it helps with your VO2 max, with your lung capacity. I didn't get diagnosed with asthma until I was 24. Interestingly, it was before I went travelling, and I got typhoid, all the different jags that you get before you go travelling to Asia. And then I get caught in the rain, and the next day I couldn't breathe. I really couldn't breathe. And that's when I started really realising that I had asthma. Now, I probably had asthma for a long time at that point, but I just didn't know. But that's when I was diagnosed. I was probably living with the condition for a long time, but I didn't know. Now, I'd been living with asthma for a long time, and it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. Being out of breath when you're walking up the hill, etc. But it's kind of weird, because I think a lot of people associate asthma with perhaps someone that's overweight, or perhaps someone that isn't active. Maybe, you see a nerd and you'll see them, with the inhaler and things like that. But you can actually be super fit and be asthmatic. In fact, some of the world's top athletes are asthmatic. I got diagnosed with 24, but I'll be honest, I really didn't understand the condition for a long time. And partly that is, on the NHS, on the National Health Service in the UK. They said, "Oh, you're asthmatic," and they just gave me some inhalers and put me out the door. And I had an idea of what it was about, but I really didn't know, if I'm honest, and I really didn't walk about with my inhaler. Fast forward many years, I had some problems with it in between, where I had to take my inhaler more certain times and all that. But I got my first proper asthma attack when I was in Bogota in Colombia. And that was 2011, I think it was. So it was Hogmanay, 31st of December, just before New Year's Day, and we were at a party in Bogota, but we were like maybe about an hour's drive in the city. Bogota is a big city, it's like 8 million people or something like that. And if you're at one side of the city and you stay at the other, you can be an hour in traffic or the bus or whatever to get back to where you live. And I was about an hour away, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and that's when I started getting my first asthma attack. And I was having some drinks and just having fun, and it just came on, and it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. I didn't have my inhaler at the time, which was my mistake. So I had the asthma attack, and I'd had minor attacks, being short of breath and all that before, but this was a serious one. And I could have died. Without a doubt, I could have died. And if anyone has never had that, doesn't have this condition, it's maybe hard to relate to it, but effectively what happens is it feels like there's no air in the room. Your chest gets tight, but it feels like there's no air in the room, and you feel like a fish out of water where you can't breathe. And I couldn't even talk. That's how bad it was. I couldn't even tell someone that I was having this problem. And it took a while. When I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, "I need to go home. And you sound like an idiot, but I couldn't even to muster those words to say I need to go home. it took a while. And it took a while for people to realise that this is serious, because again, people don't understand how serious this is. Thankfully, I got home and then I sat with the inhaler. I took quite a few draws of it, and I was a little bit weak for a few days. After an asthma attack, you're just physically weak for days, and thankfully I survived. Now after that, in Bogota, I went to the asthma clinic and he said it could be a number of different things like flowers and all that, but I suspect it was all the diesel fumes, all the pollution in the city that caused it, and an accumulation of that, and perhaps I exercised that day, which you're not supposed to do if the conditions are bad. At the time, the guy gave me some pills and it borderline cured my asthma. Now, I can't recall what those pills were, but he gave me these pills. I started taking them and I felt amazing. I could take a breath for the first time, and ever since, I can't even remember the last time I was able to walk around and breathe properly. But when I took those pills, I felt amazing. The problem is I started having problems and I really couldn't get out of bed. I was dragging my ass out of bed and I started becoming really depressed. And I looked online and I saw there was a lot of people with that particular drug. It was a new drug and people were committing suicide and all these other things. I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm not going to mess around with that. So I'm back to using inhalers. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because certain times of the year the condition is quite bad, and right now it's pretty bad because it's winter. It's like 1-2 degrees in the morning right now, and it's probably going to get a little bit colder over the next month or so. And I've been waking up every night because of it. I can't sleep properly, and so you're just lethargic and tired, and I'm not able to write as many articles, to produce as many videos when I'm like this. I'm still trying to exercise, but I think I need to take a few days and calm it a little bit this week, because I'm struggling so much with it. As I said, it's kind of weird because I think that a lot of people don't understand how serious it is and they don't recognise how bad it is. And I'm talking about people that know me, friends and family. They don't realise how serious this condition can be. And the reason is because they see you, they see you're fit, and most days it's manageable. I take a preventer, what's called a preventer. I take that twice a day, one in the morning, once in the morning, once at night. And I take this. This is a relief inhaler, salbutamol. I'll take this when I'm exercising, and I'll generally take it if I've got any, if I can't breathe, I'll take a shot of this. But I try not to take it too much as well, because if you take too many, it can actually generate a panic attack because it just sends your heart racing. The last serious attack I had, it wasn't as serious as the one in Bogota, but the last time I got a proper attack where I couldn't breathe to the point where I couldn't even talk, was last year sometime. I think it was like last April or something. And I was at my mum and dad's, which is like a 5-minute walk from this house, so it wasn't too bad. Basically, it came on, and it came on quick. I had no warning sign that this attack was going to come on. It came on quick, and I says to my mum, again, struggling to breathe, I'm like, where's my inhaler, where's my inhaler? Because I had put my inhalers all over the house. I'd hid them in a bedroom, I had put them all about the place. But what my mum had did, and it wasn't her fault, she didn't understand, but she had thrown them out because she looked at the date and seen that they were out of date. Now this one, I don't know if you can see this, but this one says March 2018. So this one is out of date, but I don't think she realised that you can't throw these inhalers out until you replace them with newer ones. It's better to have an inhaler like this, which is 6 months out of date or something, or a year out of date, than having no inhaler at all. And I was like, where is it, where is it? So I said to my little brother, I says, take me to the house, and again, I couldn't breathe. I was like, take me to the house, and I asked him to drive me there, because even, walking is difficult. Just any physical activity is difficult. And he's like, yeah, I'll take you just now, give me 5 minutes. Now, he didn't recognise that I was having, I told him I was having an asthma attack, but he didn't realise how bad it was. He thought, yeah, I'll take you over in a minute. I just stopped talking to him. I walked out the house and I walked home, and I sat on the steps, and he got a fright after that. He didn't realise how serious it was. He apologised. It wasn't his fault, but he didn't realise how serious it was. And I said to him afterwards, like, Darren, if I'm having an attack, you need to help me ASAP. You need to get to me. You need to get me to an inhaler, or you need to get me to a hospital, because I could die. And it's one of those things, I hate I hate having to speak like that to people and remind them. But it could save my life one day if someone does understand how serious this is. But again, I think that asthma is something that a lot of people don't think is that serious. I don't think people realise how serious it is. And I include myself in that. Until I had my first proper attacks, I probably had 3 or 4 proper attacks in my life where I thought, if I don't get an inhaler, I'm going to die. And it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. It's one of the scariest things that can happen to you because you think this is it, because you can't even talk. And until I had my first proper attack, I don't think I really appreciated how serious the disease is. And I experience it a lot. Whenever I say to someone, I've got asthma, they go, oh, okay, my friends got asthma, or I had asthma as a kid and things like that. And they kind of downplay the severity of it all. And I see this in the UK as well. In the UK, you're not allowed to smoke in pubs. So you're allowed to smoke outside, so all the smokers go outside. Now, this is one of my pet hates now, because I don't like being someone that, complains or, can you stop smoking or can you do whatever. But in the UK in the summer, I was out with my friends, beautiful day, but all the pubs put out lots of chairs outside and everyone's outside having fun. But there's no restrictions on smoking, so everyone can just smoke anywhere, effectively. So the pub garden effectively turns into a smoking garden. And one of my friends was smoking. I was like, listen, go and smoke over there. And I sat, it was unavoidable just being outside with friends that was, getting secondhand smoke from other people. And I kept saying, stop, so I was standing away and things like that. And it sounds extreme and it sounds like you're trying to just be a complainer and things like that. The next day, again, I didn't smoke. It was secondhand smoke. But the very next day, I couldn't get out of bed. And it took me about 3 or 4 o'clock for me to get out of bed, because I was literally just lying in bed with no energy. And I was just like that. It wasn't a full-on attack, but it really did affect me. So the reason I brought this up today is I've been struggling the last few days. And as I said, there's certain times of the year it flares up with flowers or with weather or whatever. But the cold weather the last few days is hard, because even when I've exercised down the gym, they've heated the gym, but the air's still quite cold. So when I'm breathing in, I'm breathing a lot of cold air, which is a trigger for asthma. And I've been struggling. I've been waking up in the middle of the night, but it's just your energy levels. I have got no energy to be productive, to write the articles and to do videos and do my the work that I normally do online. I'm really, really struggling. I just feel tired. I just feel lethargic. And I know this is coming across like a moaning, kind of complaining video. I'm quite proactive with my condition as far as living with asthma. I exercise as much as I can. I'm conscious of the fact that that I've got the condition. I always take a blast of my inhaler before I exercise, because it opens up my airways and it helps me. But I also need to be more proactive. I always have to remember to take an inhaler with me, which sometimes is a pain, but I always take it with me now. I think for anyone who watches my videos, anyone who's watching this video just now, I'm sure that you can relate to a lot of what I've said, that people don't take it seriously. And day to day, when things are okay and you're taking inhalers and everything's okay, it's kind of like a secret disease. You're okay, you're not worried too much about it. Yeah, of course you're short of breath compared to other people. But I think most people don't understand that you can still be relatively fit and still have this condition, and it can still be a very serious condition. To give you an example, about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a few marathons. In fact, I did 3 marathons in 7 weeks. Now, in between those marathons, because it hurt my knee, I couldn't actually run. So what I was doing some hill walking and just walking just to keep my kind of fitness up a little bit. During the initial part of a hill walk, if you're walking up a hill for an hour or so, during the first 15, 20 minutes, I could not breathe. I could not breathe at all. And yet there was someone next to me walking with me, someone who wasn't as fit as me, someone who didn't do, I was running marathons at the time, my lung capacity must have been really good at the time, and yet they were fine. And it's kind of weird, I was running marathons, actually multiple marathons, and yet someone completely unfit or overweight or whatever could walk up a hill and I would be the one out of breath. And that kind of sums it up. You know, whenever I did long runs, and long runs are actually better for someone with asthma because it gives you time for your airways to warm up. But for my marathons, the first 5 miles or so are torture because you can't breathe because of your asthma. But then you reach a kind of plateau and there's a point where your airways open up and you can really breathe and it feels amazing. It's you know, just being able to breathe, just to get a full breath in is amazing. So I'm kind of yapping on a little bit, but I thought I'd do a video and just talk about this. If you're living with asthma, if you've got asthma, you know, and I assume that most of you in the northern hemisphere, if you've got asthma, just be careful in winter. Don't leave your asthma inhaler at home. Be sure to keep taking your preventers. Speak to your doctor if you get any problems. And I know I'm sounding like I'm trying to talk down to people here, but I'm speaking to myself as well here. I've took this condition for granted sometimes, and every now and then it comes back and kicks you in the ass and it reminds you how serious it is. So if you've got asthma and it's winter where you are and the weather is cold, don't take any risks. And if you are friends with someone or you've got family that's got asthma, just bear in mind and that they do have the condition, and even try and remind them to take their inhaler. But also be ready. If you see someone asthmatic and you see them struggling and they start going quiet or they can't talk and they look wheezy, don't mess around. Help them. Get them an inhaler or take them to the hospital or take them to the doctors. Do something, because there are people that die from this every year. In fact, the number of people dying from asthma is going up every year because of pollution and other things. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening to me complain. This is a condition that I manage quite well, in my opinion, because I think I've got it quite bad, but I manage it quite well. A lot of people don't realise I've got it, you know, because it's not like I'm bringing it out all the time. But when it does, you know, show its face, it's pretty bad. So yeah, if you've got asthma, don't take it lightly. And if you know someone with asthma, do a little bit of reading and get a better understanding of it so that, you know, your loved one isn't put in a bad situation. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care, guys.